Hi, folks. You're with Tacitus today at your pushback, and thank you for joining this radio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the hysterical propaganda that's just amped up big time today, uh, talking about bringing in lots and lots of third world peasants into the West to solve what they're saying is the skills crisis. Now, you know it's utter and total bullshit because the skills crisis is apparently hitting the Western world, the entire Western world, simultaneously in exactly the same industries and professions, and in areas of skill. And the solution is the same. Just masses and masses of peasants have to be brought in to solve it. It's coordinated propaganda. It's scripted by globalist downtown central, and it is all total fucking bullshit. Now, I've just done a look at what one of the top categories is is engineering across all engineering, civil engineering, mechanical engineering, and chemical engineering, and so on. There's supposed to be this shortage of engineers now. When you actually look at the amount of engineering jobs, this is on Australia's biggest employment job board website. If you actually look at the number of engineers, there's something like a third paid less than the average wage. So how you can call those as engineers is quite beyond me. And when you actually look at the job description and some of these, they're really talking about trainee engineers, that sort of thing. So there's no shortage of them. I mean, you could almost get anyone, any technician really. You could get them. There's plenty of things that could be done locally to solve this alleged shortage, and I would dispute it's a shortage. So anyway, when you move up the salary chain, a lot of these jobs are at the higher salaries and managerial, where engineering is a degree that you can have either a degree in this or a degree in engineering or a degree in so and so on. So when if you were to boil it down, there's less than 1,000 engineering jobs that you'd say may be a little complicated or a little difficult to fill. And a lot of those jobs are out in the remote areas, things like mine sites or remote civil engineering projects out in, a million miles away from any major city. And of course, not many people want those jobs. The other thing that's a factor is that a lot of these jobs, again, are 12-month gigs. They're not a full-time job or a career position or something like that. And if you're if you qualified engineer, you're typically in it for the longer sort of career type haul, not just a 6-month or a 12-month gig. So now, on top of that, some of these jobs aren't paying very well. They need to pay better salaries. Now, some are scam jobs where they want somebody. The advert is somebody who has to have 5 million degrees and 200,000 years experience, but they only want to pay seriously shit money, and that's the scam of how these companies get round having to employ somebody local. They just make it an unfillable job. Lots of skills required, an absurd amount of skills required, but it's low pay. No one applies for the job. So they can then go to the government and say, look, we've been running this advert for a month or 2 months, and no one's applying. So we need to be able to bring in, an engineer from the third world, because they don't go to other white countries. They go to the third world peasant economies and get people who've got very dubious degrees at these third world universities. So they bring them in. Using that scam pretext that hey, we advertised, no one applied. Now the government should be far more rigorous and say, hey, this is a bullshit advert. You were never serious about hiring someone locally in the first place. This is a bullshit scam advert you're using to bring in, cheap peasant labour from the third world, and you're not, it's not acceptable. Now theoretically, the government is meant to do that. And again, theoretically, there are meant to be serious fines and so on that can be levied for people that scam the system. But I'm not aware of anyone's been fined for this. Maybe there is someone, maybe in the comments below, someone has heard about it or whatever. But for all the scams that go on, not a single person has been fined, or to my knowledge. In this area for putting scam adverts in, using it as a pretext or a cover story to bring in cheap third world labour. So going through all the categories where there's supposed to be shortages, there's just no shortage. It's just total lies. Now the propaganda that's going around at the moment, which is so coordinated, scripted, and you know. The responses, the business websites, the talk, the chat boards and all that sort of thing. That no sooner is the story posted, then instantly 50 stories will appear, on something that would take 10, 15 minutes to write, and they all appear in the same second that the news piece is uploaded. So clearly it's all coordinated. I mean, the whole thing's a fucking bot-based scam, and the propaganda and the lies. But the essence of it is, now the sort of propaganda's moved along a little bit. They're just asserting there's a skills shortage, and we all have to accept that. They're asserting that it's the third world peasants are going to fill it. We have to accept that. But now there's another bit of propaganda they're throwing in. Now what they're saying now is that there are these armies, fucking armies, millions, if not gazillions, if not gazillions of these scientists and doctors, engineers, all of them fucking triple PhDs from the third world, all waiting to come in, and these white countries, the hold up, it can only be because they're fucking racist, fucking fascist, Nazi, Hitler racist. That's why all these scientists and engineers from Bongo aren't being allowed in, or it's just taking a bit of time to process it. They're saying that the waiting lists are running for years. Now, this is the propaganda that's going around all over the place. The Indian national media will never miss a chance to do their next chip on shoulder act. It is outrageous. They will not let us through. We have all these skills that the visual needs, but they will not allow us to. So the media, Indian media, just goes hyperbolic about that. There's all these super skilled Indians. They've still got the shits that Rishi Sunak didn't get given the prime ministership of the United Kingdom as payback for the colonial days. So if Rishi had been appointed, then it's suitable sort of recompense for the shame and so on of the colonial era, as the Brahmins would see it. And if he's doesn't get the prime minister's job and the economy tanks or dies, then that's proof that Rishi would have saved him if only they'd given him the fucking job. Damn fucking racists they are. So they're all talking about this thing that masses of these highly skilled people want to come to the evil, wicked, racist, Nazi, fascist Hitler West. I don't know. I can't find these shortages anywhere. I mean, there's supposedly a shortage of doctors, but the shortage has been around for a long time. Why didn't we train more local doctors? Why wasn't that done? It's no good not training doctors and then saying, oh, guess what, there's a shortage. Duh, of course there's a shortage. You didn't fucking train enough. And what the solution is then to bring in third world peasant doctors. Well, that's really a solution. Wow. I've had to deal with some of these third world peasant doctors because, with an elderly relative that I assist and look out for. And it's hard work, these people. They can barely speak English. They've just got their little checklist. You could get a high school kid to be a doctor because all these third world doctors do, and they just run straight off a checklist. That's it. Tick the box, tick the next box, the box after that. If patient shows symptoms X, go to Y, and then they've got things like blood tests and all sorts of various equipment to do tests. So they don't need to know anything or diagnose anything or understand anything. They just run off the checklist, and then and then off the tests. And if you've seen the results of the tests that they come back, any idiot could read through that and understand what it means. When you get to the specialist level, I understand that that's another level of medical care. But at the GP level, again, high school kids with a checklist could do that. So I can't see any, but they're really pushing this thing of not only is there a shortage, but the white people are stopping all these brown people from coming in, black and brown people from coming into the West. It has to be racism. What else can it be? I mean, there is no other explanation. No, I don't agree that or don't believe that there is a slowdown in work visas. I mean, last year in Britain, they handed out over 1 million visas. You could hardly call that slow. And the same in Australia. There was, not including family reunion, there was something like 150,000 visas were handed out last year. Remember, this is a country with a population of 25 million. Now the complaint is that people who come here on temporary work visas should be allowed to bring their entire family with them. Now, I don't agree with that personally, but I think they desperately procreate as soon as they arrive. They go, look, see, we've had a logo. Now we can stay. You have to let us stay. And bear in mind that there are hundreds upon hundreds of millions of people just in the Indian subcontinent alone that would pull out all their teeth to come to a Western country, such as the attraction and such as the opportunities that they perceive are here. I mean, given the shithole life they lead in some of these other places, then you can see, well, even the job pushing a broom is better than what they've got over there. So, but can these people contribute to and help the economy, the Western economies? Well, no, it's just pure globalist talking point, just another lot of globalist lies and propaganda to try and stuff more and more black and brown peasants into the West. That's all it is. It's nothing other than that. The entire thing is a fucking charade. I think no to look, if there is a genuine skill shortage, a real skill shortage, then bring in people on short-term work visas to solve it. I've got no problem with that. And then they go home when it's done. But then take decisive action to solve the problem locally. Train more doctors, train more engineers, and look, companies that claim there's no one out there. They've got this childlike view of the world. You say, okay, well, look, we've got to do the best we can do with what we've got. No, I always took that view. Are the people that I'm hiring as fully qualified as I would like? Well, no. So I'm going to have to pick from that people with the closest qualification, and then well, maybe they've started studying, or maybe they're a technician in the field but not an engineer, and I can upskill them, or that sort of thing. So then I look at people who've got real natural aptitude. They're eager, they're keen. Okay, well, I'll give them a go, and then you make do with what you've got. Sure, you have to compensate. Maybe you change the ratio of fully qualified engineer to the amount of not yet fully qualified people that report to them. Maybe you've got to do a little bit of moving around there, but it can be done. We have to remember that when the mass mobilisation of World War broke out, that there was automatically a massive skill shortage. They needed the standing army is 250,000, but they need 10 million. And there's a shortage of everything: officers, technicians, gunners, parade ground training officers, and so on. There's a shortage of everything. So they have to go, okay, well, the best educated people, or they've got to look at people with that natural aptitude. Okay, well, this guy's good at setting up the field artillery. This guy's good at loading the artillery. This guy's good at sighting, the long range guns. This guy's good at operating a radio, or so on. And just go on from there. And then you have to You just have to make do with what you've got and do the best with what you've got. Is it perfect? No. Is it a desirable situation? Well, no. But it's what you've got, and then you have to adjust how you allocate the resources you have. And one thing that wartime taught, I'm talking Second World War as most recent event. One thing it taught the people who were organising the war is you look for natural aptitude. You can't always count on the qualifications. If you got them, fine. If they're right there, you're landing at your feet, fine. But otherwise, look for natural aptitude, and then you can uptrain and upskill those people who have that natural aptitude. But in the meanwhile, you're still getting the job done, and you've still got forward momentum. And this is something that that today we've lost the capacity to do that. So make do with what you have and do the best with what you have, and change them. Just change a little bit. Look a little bit differently at people and say, okay, well, an engineer I can't get, but I can get a mechanic, and I can get the mechanic to do this, this, and this. Then I can get them, maybe send them to do another course at university at weekends or something, and then you've got a mechanical engineer or electrical engineer, and so on. So there are things you can do, and then change again, as I mentioned a moment ago, the ratio of reports to the qualified engineer. And then move forward that way. There's plenty of things that can be done to get around this bullshit propaganda invented skill shortage. It doesn't exist. It's crap. And wherever areas that do exist is because they pay some shit money that people can't afford to work, especially in the cities, can't afford to work at those jobs. Okay, well, that's fine. That these people, you don't want to pay them more money, then provide some sort of accommodation for them. Find some other way of helping them so they can do the job that you want without having to bring out illiterate third world peasants that are going to do a shit job anyway. You've been with Tacitus today and your Pushback Challenge. Thank you for listening.